Welcome to EMS Week Thursday. Thursday has always been Save a Life Day. So I'm going to show a couple of videos on CPR, adult, child, and infant, and then how to control bleeding. And I added one on how to add emergency information to your phone. Many years ago, there was something called ICE, in case of emergency, and that was a contact that was in your phone that we could look for. And we never really did that a lot, but phone manufacturers or software developers nowadays have put apps into their phones that allow you to add your medical information. So now we can look at our phones, look for this information if we can find it, and then you can decide what information you want to have in there. And you'll see more in the video. But Thursday is Save a Life Day, so I'm going to show you a couple of life-saving skills. Everybody stay safe and stay EMS strong.
Hello, happy EMS Week Thursday. It's Save a Life Day, so I wanted to demonstrate a couple of skills that you can use to help save a life. The first one is compression-only CPR. We understand that doing CPR is kind of a scary event, and having to do mouth-to-mouth on someone is kind of a gross event. We don't like to do it on the ambulance. We have a device to assist us with ventilation, so we don't have to do mouth-to-mouth. But away from work, or if you're not an EMT or paramedic, you wouldn't have that device available. So what do? American Heart recognizes this and has taught us, or tells us, to now do compression-only CPR. So when you see someone that has collapsed or gone down, first make sure there's nothing there that's going to hurt you. It all looks safe. Come up and, hey, are you okay? He's not responding. Get someone to call 911 or take out your cell phone, call 911 and put it on speakerphone. So you call 911. I'm then going to look to see if my patient is breathing. I might even tilt the head back a little bit, looking for chest rise, trying to feel it, trying to hear it. He is not breathing. I don't see him moving. I'm going to start CPR. If they have clothing on, you can lift the shirt. Imagine a line between the nipples, center of the chest on the lower half of the sternum. The palm, the heel of one hand on the sternum. Place the other hand on top. Start pressing fast and hard. And that is compression-only CPR. Make sure you're pressing at least 100 compressions a minute and you're pressing at least 2 inches deep. If you wanted to do rescue breathing with chest compressions, maybe it's somebody you know and you don't mind doing mouth-to-mouth, it would look like this. Hey, are you okay? You, go call 911. He's not breathing and he's not moving. Lift the shirt and begin CPR. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Pinch the nose, cover the mouth, and give 2 breaths, each one to see chest rise, then resume CPR. 5, 6, 7. And you would repeat that cycle of 30 compressions and 2 breaths until help arrives. Hopefully you'll never have to do this, but now if you see someone collapse, you know what to do. If it was a baby or a child, infant less than 1, we would do things just a little bit differently. Just a demonstrator to show you, this is our bag valve mask that we would use to help ventilate a patient, but normally people don't have that, so I'm not going to use that. But it starts out just like with the adult CPR. Baby, are you okay? Baby's unresponsive. You, go call 911. I'm then going to look to see if I see chest rise, try and feel it, trying to hear it. Baby's not breathing, baby's not moving, baby looks pretty blue. I will start CPR. I'm going to use the tips of 2 fingers. Now I find the nipple line again and go just a little bit below it. And then using the tips of 2 fingers, if it's continuous CPR, I will just, or compression only CPR, I will just press. And I want to press about 1/3 to 1/2 the depth of the chest. That's a pretty good push. If I'm doing the full CPR, and a lot of times with babies we're a little more willing to do it, I would start off with the compressions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. covering the mouth and the nose. I would then give 2 breaths and resume. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I would continue 30 and 2, 30 and 2, 30 and 2 until help arrives. Again, hopefully you'll never have to do this, but if you see an infant that has collapsed or an infant that's unresponsive and not breathing, now you know what to do. The second skill I wanted to demonstrate was how to control bleeding. This poor guy here has cut his leg very badly and needs a little bit of help. So the first thing I'm going to do, if I have some way to protect myself using gloves or bags or something to keep me from touching his blood, I would like to not touch his blood if possible. If it's someone you know, someone you trust, or if you have no option, here are a few things you can do. First of all, take some bandages or dressing to try to control the bleeding with direct pressure. So I'd see where the wound is coming from and hold direct pressure on that. If this begins to soak through, I would not remove it. I would take more and put it on top of it. I can wrap this up with a little bit of gauze just to try to keep it in place and keep that fairly tight. And generally, direct pressure will control most bleeding. I'm just going to sort of tuck this under to keep it there. There's lots of methods you can use to help keep that in place. Well, never mind. I'm just going to tie it back on itself. And, oh no, it's still bleeding. So if it is severe enough that it continues to bleed and direct pressure doesn't take care of it, we can use a tourniquet. And we have a couple of different devices. This is a manufactured or pre-made tourniquet. It's one that I happen to like. It's just Velcro. It has the windlass already built in, so it keeps it all together in one unit. They run about $30, so you may or may not want to get one of these. But if you have one of these, or if you're going to use a tourniquet, we're going to go above the wound, an inch or 2 at least. Feed it back through. And I want to Velcro this in place about as tight as I can get it and get all the slack out of that. Get that Velcro all the way around to hold it in place. Now the windlass is what makes this a tourniquet. And now you would start twisting this. And it will probably take a good 3-4 turns. With this being a mannequin, he doesn't compress much. So I'm just going to get a couple of turns out of it before it won't go anymore. Tuck it underneath. And then you can Velcro over that, Velcro here, and hold that in place. Note the time that you put the tourniquet on them. These are real lifesavers, and I'd recommend everybody having one, especially if they do anything or any place where they may have injuries. Throw one in the car, throw one in your pack if you go out, have one in the office or your school. I think they're great devices. If you don't have one of those, we can use many things for tourniquets. I'm just going to take that one off, which you would never do in real life. But to demonstrate, I'm going to use this. This is just a triangular bandage. You could use a towel or a piece of cloth. As long as there's not too much stretch in it, I just kind of roll it up. Again, go an inch or 2 above the wound. Going to tie a knot in that. Just an overhand knot, and then I'll do that again. So I have a little bit of a hole there, and then I need some device to act as the windlass. In this case, I just have a screwdriver. You could try a pencil or a pen, but I think they're a little too flimsy and they probably end up snapping because you really need to turn this tightly. And you're going to continue to turn this until the bleeding controls. This is very painful for the patient. They may not like it, but this is going to save their life. So you turn that several times until the bleeding is controlled, and then you may have to tie this off so it doesn't unwind. Or use something else to help hold it in place. Almost have enough there that I can get that. And it's held in place now. Again, note the time, and hopefully the bleeding is controlled. Obviously, call 911 or have someone call 911 if you're having to use a tourniquet, because they're going to have to go to the hospital and have some further care. But bleeding control, initially start with direct pressure, just holding it on there. That will stop most bleeding. If that won't do it, then we can use a tourniquet, either a manufactured pre-made one or an improvised one using towel, triangular bandage. People like to say they use their belts, but they're a little stiff to twist, and it's really the twisting that gives it the tourniquet action. So again, hopefully you'll never have to do this, but if you do see someone with major bleeding, now you know how to take care of it. Have a great EMS week. If you want to learn more about CPR or first aid, we offer these classes. They're American Heart Association classes. We offer them, and we look forward to being able to teach them for you.
There's been something that's been coming up in all of my CPR first aid classes, and that is how to convey your medical information to the providers when you are unconscious or unable to speak. And in the old days, I used to recommend that people would write it on a piece of paper, fold it up, and put it in their wallet behind their driver's license, because we would often look for your driver's license for ID, and then we could find the piece of paper. And that still works, but with technology, there's a new way, and that is using your smartphone. Now, I'm more familiar with the iPhones than I am the Android phone, but in the iPhone, you go to the Health app, click on that, then click on Edit, and then you are allowed to put in whatever information you want. I put in my date of birth as August, medical conditions, any notes you want them to know, allergies, medications, blood type, organ donation, weight, height, and then down near the bottom you can put in emergency contacts, and these come from your contact list, and the phone number is automatically put into that, and we can call these people from the lock screen on the iPhone without having to know your passcode. Now, all this is entirely voluntary. You can put in what you want, but I have my wife and my dad just in case there's something that happens to me and I can't speak. Hope you found this information helpful, and I look forward to hearing any comments. Thank you.